Matt, some analysts say that the NDP had no other choice but to kick Jama out of the caucus, but for the Ford government to censure her was going too far, especially after she apologized.
After almost 2 weeks since her initial comments that sparked criticism, Hamilton MPP Sarah Jama spoke this morning in the legislature against the Tories' motion to censure her and said the province is targeting her to distract from its own scandals.
I restate my call for an immediate ceasefire by Israeli forces and for the immediate restoration of food, water, fuel, and electricity in Gaza. And I applaud the many elected officials in Canada who have joined this call in recent days, and I hope even more of you will speak out. I ground my words in the realities of the Israeli apartheid and Israel's ongoing domination and occupation of Palestinian lands.
Ontario NDP leader Marit Stiles had originally defended Jama after she issued an apology for her initial statement on social media, where she decried, quote, the generations-long occupation of Palestine without mentioning the attack by Hamas militants on Israeli civilians. Stiles said today that she and Jama had agreed that in order for her to stay in caucus, they would work together in good faith with no surprises.
We are a team, and she has done a number of unilateral things that have undermined our team.
I think the NDP had no choice at this point to kick Sarah Jama out of the caucus. Here we have the Ford government doing another major Greenbelt flip-flop today, and the top of the news is Sarah Jama. The NDP has been distracted by this issue since the RCMP were called in to investigate the Greenbelt scandal. They've had these two things going. This is a huge distraction.
Stiles also called the Ford government's motions to censure Jama undemocratic. The Progressive Conservative motion effectively silences Jama in the legislature and calls on the Speaker not to recognize her in the House until she retracts her original statement and apologizes again.
I think there's a bigger question here about freedom of expression, because all around there seems to be an attempt to silence those with whom people disagree. And this is happening amongst various political leaders as well as amongst members of the public. And I think it's very important to affirm the value of freedom of expression, even if you disagree with someone.
In Queen's Park today, Jama refused to provide a comment, and the situation got a little heated when some of her friends prevented members of the media from speaking to Jama.
I'm just trying to go straight. I don't have a comment this time. The media is in my face.
Now, as an independent MPP, she'll be restricted in what she can do.
I think she will still be allowed to take part in votes, but she will not be allowed to ask questions in the legislature, for example, during question period. On the other hand, independent members, and I think there's now 13 of them, get very, very, very few questions, very few opportunities to ask questions during question period. So taking away her right to participate in debates, I mean, that is disenfranchising the people of Hamilton Centre. I don't care how you look at it. She may end up being, a glorified constituency worker staying in her own constituency office most of the time because she can't really work effectively at Queen's Park.
Last week, Jama's lawyer sent a cease and desist letter to Ontario Premier Doug Ford demanding he retract and apologize for his comments to her initial statement. Ford denied the accusations and saying that he did not defame Jama. Matt?